What's up, guys? Jose at Wire Ninjas here, and today we're in Short Hills, New Jersey, and we're going to check out some work we did. We took over a structured wiring job, which includes, Cat 5 and Cat 6 cabling. Now, the entire home's wired up with Cat 6 cabling for Ethernet purposes and Cat 5 for phone jacks. And when we came, it was a giant mess. So we're going to show you what it looks like when you take a mess, you clean it up, and you do it right the Wire Ninjas way. Let's go take a look. Alright guys, so we're in Short Hills now, we're inside the home, and we're going to check out this rack installation that we did here behind me. Let's get a little look at what we did as well as what took place in this particular room. So what we did is a rack installation. This is what it looks like. This is the rack. Now, it's a simple rack install in the sense that not much equipment went inside this rack. However, it's very important because we'll put up the pictures here. This was a total disaster when we came in. I mean, this was a nightmare wiring situation for any installer. This entire wall was just full of that spaghetti, as you may or may not see. I can give you an example of what it looked like. So this is the alarm company. We were contracted for all the low voltage except the alarm. Let me turn the lights on here. So this is pretty much what we had here before. Again, Chris, let's post the pictures. We're gonna have pictures, for example, the before pictures. That way you can see the before and the after. Now, that's what it looked like before, this entire wall. Okay, it's locked up. This is what it looks like now. As you can see, we have our patch panels. Typically, when I do an installation like this, I wire up a home. I run all my lines directly back to the rack, just like you see here. Beautiful strand wires. But because this was a takeover, we had to come up with a solution that worked for everybody, given the parameters of the job. So what we did was we decided to rewire the entire area. All the Cat cabling in the home got completely rewired from this point of entry all the way back to the panels. And then from the panels, we patched back out to the rack. This made the most sense given the situation at hand. As you can see, this is all our phone. We converted all the phone into Cat cabling. The homeowner said he has no use for phone lines, so I figured we'd add some value to the job by at least converting it to Cat in case we ever do need to use them or utilize them. Now, these are all the ones that are in use. All these have been terminated, tested, validated, labeled at many ends of the circuit. Let's take a look at the rack. So rack pushes in. A lot of space, really nice big utility room here, as you can see. Let's take a look inside. Not sure if it's locked. We'll find out, I'm sure. Nope. She is not locked. So this is a Mid-Atlantic rack. I really like this thing. It's a really nice sealed rack. It comes with all your pieces, parts. As you can hear, the fans up top to extract the heat. It comes fully assembled. It's actually really nice. I really actually was very happy with the quality. As I said before, in the sense of equipment, not much equipment went in this rack, so it was a simple install in that regard. But we have a lot of room for expansion here. The owner does plan to do some audio, and he wants to get all the runs back here. Let's pop the back open. I'll give her a see. So Steve, let's pull this rack out. I want to show them the wiring, how it plays out. So ready, go. Now just pull it all the way out, just like you naturally would. Yep. So as you can see, a couple things. One, there's enough wire so that the rack can be pulled out. Let's fully extend it. So the rack location is here, correct? But we have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, hold up Steve, 8, 9, almost 10 feet of slack on these cables, so the rack can move around. It can be serviced itself. Also, the electricians can come in, do their job, and of course the alarm company can do its job as well. It's good when you have a rack to have plenty of slack on these wires. I can't mention this enough. It's extremely important. It makes for a much better installation. Everybody else that comes in this room is going to be happy afterwards with your install as well. Now, another thing to note is data on one side, power on the other side. As you can see, we've run power separate from data. This is important. I usually like to go about 2 feet. I think the rule is 16 inches. It does vary a little bit, the rule, depending on what book you're reading. But very important, let's keep the power away from the data, people. Another thing to note is, you see the Velcros on the install. We have J-hooks where we have heavy wiring. J-hook there, but Velcro everywhere else. It looks so nice and clean. It's so serviceable. You can pull a fresh wire through here so easily. You can identify and pull an old wire that you need to find very easily. Aesthetically, it's pleasing, and the functionality is there. I mean, it works so well for this application. I wouldn't use anything other than Velcro at this point. Another thing to note, as you will see in the before picture, is the coax. All the home's coax, this box, this panel, this white panel, was located here. It was a giant mess. Again, the homeowner, he had no use for the coax, so he said, you know what, let's get rid of it. I said, let's not get rid of it, but let's relocate it at least. If you do sell the home, you do want it there, you want that network there for the new homeowner. And just in case, it's good to have around. However, we did decide to relocate it completely. Even though we had plenty of space on this wall, I think the best idea was to relocate it completely. It's right next to the Verizon box, so they can tap into it as well. And as you can see, the runs came out really nice and clean with those J-hooks. I guess the builder, he used 2 different types of wire, so we separated them. We do everything as perfect as we possibly can, when it comes to anything we're touching. As you can see, that even includes the color on the color of the cabling. We separated it by color just so it aesthetically looked more pleasing, which is a little bit crazy, but we're crazy about wiring here at Wire Ninjas. I think that about covers this end. Let's take a look inside the rack, see what it looks like. Now, one thing to note is we're waiting on a battery backup solution here. We're providing a solution that'll keep this network up and running for another 6 hours at least. So these are our pieces of equipment. As you can see, we have a UDM Pro gateway from Unify, and we have an 8 switch. It's all PoE on this switch, as well as a little bit older TrendNet. This is a 24 port switch, more basic. Still has some good features. However, this was reused. We reused this, as I don't like to oversell on equipment. It wasn't necessary to provide the rest of the home, PoE connections or Unify connections. It's all one network. It's all Unify thanks to the gateway and the UI or Unify controller software. But as you can see, we reused the 24 port. So this is powering all the additional ports throughout the home. This is the feed coming in from the gateway. The gateway is also feeding the switch here. As you can see, our little labeling scheme, everything's in use. Now these are all going on back to access points. So we not only did a local area network and hardwiring, re-terminated all the wall plates upstairs throughout the house, but we also did 6 hardwired access points from Unify. We happened to do the in-wall access points because all the drops or all the data locations in this house are on the baseboards. And if you know Unify's line, you pretty much either get that white puck from the access points with the AC Pros, the Nanos, the LRs, whatever it is. And the in-wall access point, the in-wall HD, is a nice square. It also includes 4 ports out from the switch. We'll take a look at that. We'll take a ride upstairs and show you the access points. It was a perfect solution because it does block the gang that you're installing it in. So it's nice to have those 4 ports coming out of the thing. So anywhere there's a workstation, they have an access point for hardwired or Wi-Fi, but they also have 4 ports for hardwired internet, for the PCs and stuff like that. And the reason we were actually brought in here initially was due to the Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi was a real problem here. And I don't know if they're still over here, Steve, the Google Nest? Yes. So initially, when we got called, the Wi-Fi was a huge problem. And it was due to the ISP's network. They had one of these, which we got rid of. Now he can return this thing instead of paying monthly for it. But also, these Google Nest products. Now, these aren't bad products. They're great products for the suited applications. In a home of this size, though, and a home that contains data cabling where you don't have to spend the $20,000 or $30,000 to get the whole thing wired up, you're much better off using a real, system of hardwired access points to create a seamless network that's bulletproof, it's robust, thing never goes down, the speed and bandwidth is the best. These, on the other hand, can cause you a lot of trouble if they're not installed right. Part of the problem was, to be fully honest, was the cat cabling was really screwed up in this house. It seems like after the initial builder, one or more companies came in, made modifications, they were bridging and jumping cat cables all over the place. It was actually madness to sort through. And that's why we provided a solution that fell within our budget to get everything done. Now, these had to go. They were providing like five megabytes, I think. So again, part of the problem was the cat cabling was all screwed up. But for a home this size, these things are not going to work, man. You really need Wi-Fi access points, and you need so many of them. You need a certain amount of them. It's best to get someone who knows what they're doing in the house so they can perform diagnostics before and after and actually show you metrics and say, listen, this is how much the network performance has increased. This is what we've done for you. You know, the numbers don't lie. And again, like I said, the cabling was such a mess, both here and upstairs behind the ports. We ended up activating all these lines and then terminating all these lines, and upstairs they're bridged and jumped to all other cat cables. So within our budget, we were able to provide a lot of value to this homeowner. However, we didn't do a complete rewire of the entire network because it didn't make sense to do so. It would honestly take about another week to sort out all the problems at each port and get the other side of this mapped. But the homeowner, you know, we go over this with the homeowner, we make decisions, and we fell with the solution that worked for him. He's got a beautiful local area network up and running, and he's got a beautiful Wi-Fi network, and he's actually very happy. We came by to check in on things and throw up a couple cameras, and he's actually very happy because without proper Wi-Fi, I mean, you'll go insane. It drives you nuts on a daily basis. It's not cool. So that about covers it down here. We're going to take a look at the Wi-Fi access points, show you what those installs look like, and then we'll wrap it up here. All right, check it out, guys. So we're here in the living space, one of the living spaces, and I just want to show you what these access points look like. So that's your access point, as you can see. That's your labeling right there, so we know what it is. And that's your 4 ports coming out. These are really nice, really clean, perfect for the application. Like I said, these are in the baseboard, so aesthetically and spatially, we don't have room for the regular disc points. You know, the AC Pros or the Nanos. But we do have room for these, and they really look good and provide us those 4 ports. What's up, guys? Jose in Short Hills, New Jersey still. So we gave you guys a good look at a rack takeover situation where we had a giant mess. We cleaned up the mess, and then we did a rack installation as well as a Unify, hardwired, and Wi-Fi network install. We showed you the rack itself. We showed you the before pictures of the insane mess. And we showed you the after, the rack, the beauty of the wiring, as well as the hardwired access points, how they get installed, where they go, how they look, and stuff like that. So we hope we gave you some inspiration for your home. If you don't have a good Wi-Fi network, give us a shout, and we'll put one in for you. Thanks. Jose Wire Ninjas here saying peace and love.